How's it going? Cookie and I here hanging out this morning. It's a really nice day, but hot in Florida. I thought I would do something inside today and talk about bird cages. It's really important that you pick a cage for your bird that is appropriate for its size and its capability that comes along with its size. So let's dive right in. So we'll start with Cookie's cage. This is Cookie's bird cage. You can see that the bars are really wide. This is important for her to be able to grip more comfortably and her feet not to get stuck between the bars, and also that her beak slides easily between the bars. These are 1 inch wide bars. The sun conures do have a bit of a more difficult time climbing on this size of cage. They can manage it with a little bit of practice. However, this is not the size of a cage that I would recommend having for a bird this size. Something that can happen with a cage this size and a bird this small is their head can fit between the bars and potentially become stuffed. That could be disastrous for your bird, so it's really important that you have a smaller bar width for your bird's cage. Cookie's cage we actually found on Marketplace. Part of the concern with the cage this size being so large and the bar width being so far apart is your bird risks falling. That can be detrimental to the health of your bird because they can die or break bones. I do have a friend who lost 2 budgies recently because she was concerned of the size of her cage was the culprit. They were both found in the bottom of the cage, and it was not even a cage as large as Cookie's cage. You can see in Cookie's cage, some of the important items we have in here are going to be wood block toys. She loves chewing on these. They're really great to help wear her beak down and keep her entertained when she is in her cage, which is not very often. I put my birds in their cage about 4:30 in the afternoon. They go to bed around 7. During that time they eat, rest. You know, the sun is kind of passing over the house. It's a little more quiet in here, so they have a good solid 8 to 10 hours outside of their cage in the morning. The cage bowls are on this side. They come with specialty locks that Cookie cannot reach to open. I'm sure there is some type of bird that can open these, however. I do currently still have a couple of ropes in here for Cookie because I haven't been able to find anything that was not cotton. She spends very little time in here. That is something that I do need to adjust because, you know, I made a whole video on it. Saving my birds' lives, and here I am with cotton still in the cage. This is Cookie's favorite rope swing also. She has done some wear to it, and I need to find something that's large that she can sit on because her favorite spot is sleeping on that rope. Now you can see a little bit better with Mango. He is very, very small inside of this very, very large cage. And you can also understand how a fall to the bottom of the cage on those bars could be disastrous for a small bird like this. You can see how Mango is managing to climb up here, but he makes it look easy. Thanks, Mango. Hey, PG, you want to climb up here? See how she's having a bit of a hard time. Her feet barely reach in between those bars. So she's having to use 1 foot on each bar. Okay, honey, I don't want you to hurt yourself. Come back down here. My birds are flighted, so if they were to fall, they would be okay, but a lot of people clip their birds. These are the sun conures cages. The bar width on these is 5'8". You can see that my finger just barely fits between the bars, and this is the size that I am the most comfortable with for these size birds. I would not go any larger. This size cage is also going to be appropriate for a bit of a larger bird like Sam's size. You could put a gray or an Amazon in a cage this size, but I recommend something larger like Sam's cage, which we have over here. I will link this cage. We did find this on Amazon. I was so excited about being able to find a cage that was larger than most of the others, and the price was perfect for us. The door does reach to the floor, which is kind of unnecessary for me. I only use this top space. I have perches for them to wear their beaks, proper rope, different size perch for their feet so that they are more comfortable. Plenty of toys in here. This is Mango's cage. He has a Boing in the back. The food bowls that are on rotating doors. These bowls do access both sides of the cage, but I've elected to only install them on the front sides of the cage here. We do have a play top. I sometimes will put millet up here when I'm trying to keep them in the room, but out of their cages, and so they're just picking up little scraps. Who are you talking to? I was trying to use them as an example on the cage, but they're more interested in playing scraps, hunting for scraps. Come here. Come in. All right, so a bird cage the size of Sam's, I believe, is also suitable for these birds. The bars, you can see his feet do grip across them. He prefers to stand with one foot on one bar, and they can tend to be a bit slippery that way. Sam's cage also has the opening doors on the side. These are my favorite. I like the existing bowl holders so that I'm not having to move anything around inside the cage. I outfitted Sam's cage with some toys, different size perches, a bunch of different ropes, and he loves the types of toys that can be shredded. So he will sit there and pick at those, very similarly to destroying his own feathers. Ming, ming. So when measuring bar width, you don't want to measure from the outside of the bars, you want to measure between the bars. So you can see right there that it's just shy of a half, or just over a half an inch, I mean, at a 5/8 width. And the overall dimensions of that cage will be on my Amazon link. So it looks like Sam's cage is also 5/8, which would make me believe that the Sun Conures cage is actually a half inch. Nope, 5/8. So again, don't measure the outside. You'll measure the inside, and you can see it goes right to the 1 inch line on Cookie's cage. There are a lot of cages that are powder coated. All of mine are. It does make it a lot easier for cleaning. I have seen that a lot of people just recommend plain stainless steel because the powder coating could potentially be poisonous for your bird. My personal preference is probably not that important. Things like toxicity to birds is very important and something to be aware of. Just like cooking and burning candles and using any kind of air freshener and things like that. And metal toxicity and poisoning is something that would happen over a very long period of time. And unfortunately, that's just how most of the bird cages come. You'd have to buy a custom bird cage, and that's not something that I can afford at this time. Just comparing width and height on these cages, the Sun Conures cage is 24 inches wide and Sam's cage is 32 inches wide. By overall height, their cage does go to the floor. Sam's cage is about 64 inches high and the Sun's cage is about 50 inches high. Personally, I don't know why they make the cages so low to the ground. I'm way taller than this cage, so I have to like bend over to put the birds away. I mean, I've trained them to step on my finger now, but it just seems kind of ridiculous to have it so low, and it works quite a bit better than to be higher like that. Excuse all my mess. This is where I put all my stuff that I don't have time to put away. What are you doing? What are you looking for? Where are you going? Something we reviewed with our vet is that it's very important to have different size perches in your cage, which is why Sam has so many different size perches, because he was starting to get calluses rubbed on the bottom of his feet from having one size perch. So you can see also in the Sun's cages, that is something that I did there also. Likewise, you wouldn't want to put a small bird in a very, very large cage for their safety and overall health and well-being. You would not want to put Cookie in a cage this size, or especially that size. I think a travel cage this size is appropriate. I do not think this is a long-term appropriate solution for a bird Cookie's size. We actually had a different size cage for Cookie when she first came to live with us. I can't remember the bar width, but I remember watching her climb in it, and it just seemed like she was having a hard time constantly picking up her feet and moving them to the bars because they were a little narrower. They were less than an inch. But just that difference was making it much more difficult for her to crawl around. Likewise, her beak actually started getting a white spot on the top of it, which terrified me that something was going drastically wrong. So as soon as my husband found this cage online, even though we paid a lot of money for the other cage new, I said we have to go get this cage and we'll just sell the other one and call it a loss because it's more important that Cookie is comfortable. Right. I would like to give a big shout out to my friend Wendy for adopting / rescuing a bird today. Louie is finally on his way to live with her and we're super excited. If you want to check her out on Instagram, I'll drop that handle down below, Bebo's Buddies. God, you're so greedy. And go congratulate her. I would like to honor someone in my video each week for their rescue opportunity. So please send me on Instagram a picture of you and your rescued bird so that I can honor you in my video. If you have any comments or questions about cages, or if you disagree or agree with anything that I said, I'm happy to receive your criticism. Just drop them in the comments below. Likewise, give this video a big thumbs up below for us. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks so much for watching. We will see you guys next week.